Today we're going to step back in time all the way to 1976 to unpack a really specific vision for an ideal world. This comes from a sermon by Reverend Sun Myung Moon, and we're going to dig into the one ingredient he said was absolutely essential for creating heaven right here on Earth.
So let's just start with a huge question. Think about it. If you had to build a perfect world, a true utopia, what would be the single most important ingredient? Would it be money? Knowledge? Maybe power? Yeah, it's a question people have been wrestling with forever, right? But in this 1976 sermon, a very, very specific answer was put forward. So let's jump in and see exactly what that was. Okay, let's get right to the heart of it. What is the one thing, the supreme ingredient as it's called, that this sermon claims is the absolute foundation for a perfect world? Well, first things first, the sermon kind of clears the table of all the usual suspects. A world built on gold, that just breeds greed. A world of knowledge, well, that can spark competition and disharmony. And a world of power? Forget about it, just endless conflict. Nope, the true foundation, it argues, isn't any of those things. It's simply love.
But hold on, this isn't just any old, everyday kind of love. The sermon is super specific here. It calls it unselfish love. And what does that mean? It means a love that is absolute, unchanging, eternal, and, here's the key part, sacrificial. Its entire nature is just to give and to keep on giving without ever thinking about what it's going to get back.
And to show just how valuable this kind of love is, the sermon uses this incredible imagery. It claims that even God has a weakness for it. The idea is that nothing, not thrones, not crowns, not power, can grab God's attention more than just a simple, genuine act of this unselfish love. It's a pretty powerful thought.
Okay, so if unselfish love is a secret sauce, how do you actually do that? How do you make it real, here on Earth? Well, the sermon actually lays out a very specific formula for perfection.
And the formula is pretty fascinating. It's called the Party of Three. The idea here is that true perfection isn't something you can find on your own. Not in a man alone, a woman alone, or even God alone. Nope, it requires the unity of all three. A man, a woman, and God, right there at the center of it all.
And this is where it all comes together. According to this teaching, the family unit is the exact place where this perfection is supposed to be achieved. So it's not some abstract, far-off ideal. It's something to be built and made real, right here on Earth.
Now let's drill down even deeper. The sermon highlights one particular kind of love as the ultimate expression of this unselfish ideal, and that is parental love.
To really make this point hit home, the text poses this rhetorical question. The argument is that while spouses might argue about not getting enough attention from each other, their shared love for their children is this uniquely unifying and selfless force. They're totally united in just wanting to give to their child.
So the sermon presents this clear hierarchy of love. Spousal love is powerful for sure, but parental love is positioned as something even greater. And why is that? Because it's seen as the closest human parallel to God's own love, a love that is just inherently giving and sacrificial. So, to sum it up, parental love is considered supreme because it's the closest thing we have to God's love. It's sacrificial by its very nature, it's focused completely on giving rather than receiving, and the sermon describes it as the trunk line from which all other true forms of love branch out.
Okay, now we're going to zoom out for a second, because this sermon places all of these ideas within a very specific historical framework. It's not just about what to do, but when to do it, arguing this was all happening at a pivotal moment in history.
This teaching outlines this unique view of history, seeing it as three big stages in humanity's relationship with God. The Old Testament era is framed as the age of the servant. The New Testament, the age of the adopted son. And according to the text, this has all been leading up to a final, completed Testament era, which is defined as the age of the true family.
And this is where it gets really specific. According to the speaker, the precise starting point for this new, final era was the very year the sermon was delivered, 1976.
So what's the big deal about 1976? Well, the source argues that this era offers a unique grace that was never available before in history. It's the moment, according to this teaching, where humanity can finally establish heavenly families right here on Earth, fulfilling a goal set way back at the beginning of human history.
To explain the role of believers in this new era, the sermon uses a pretty unforgettable analogy. It says believers are meant to be like bait. Yeah, their unselfish love is the hook that can attract the entire world, the tuna, and pull it back into the kingdom of God.
And that really brings us full circle. The core message of this 1976 text is a radical call to live your entire life for the sake of other people.
for your family, your society, and the world. And it leaves us with a pretty profound question to consider. What would a life truly dedicated to that principle actually look like in practice?